Guys, I was running into a little problem with my A-dec electric handpiece and searched around and couldn't find much on how to fix the actual problem. Anyway, so this video is just to talk a little bit about testing your A-dec VE-9 cable, which is this piece here that hooks off your 500 delivery system unit. Which controls your electric motors. So what basically happened with me is the electric motor quit running, but the light and everything else was working. So I at first thought it was the actual control in the delivery unit, but upon further inspection, found out it's actually in this cable here. What happens is oftentimes one of these electric wires breaks inside the silicone tubing, thus rendering the motor control useless. So the way to test for that is, you can see in here there's these contact points. Just take a multimeter with continuity mode, take all these leads off the control inside the delivery unit. 4 of them are for the actual motor, and then 2 of them are for the light. I believe it's black and white are for the light, and the other 4 colors are for the motor control. Anyway, yeah, you just simply put a lead here and then on one of the wires until you find continuity and go through them all. In my case, on this cable, I found that the white lead did not have continuity to this, which indicates there's a break somewhere in the wire leading from this point to this point. So if any of you have attempted to look at this in the past, it's a bit of a mystery how this comes apart. Basically what I wanted to do is just take this apart, splice the wire back together so that I could then fix the motor cable and keep it working. This actual cable from A-dec is about $940, as I recall. That's what they quoted me. So I had 2 of these die, and at that point, after spending $1,900 or so on these, I said there's got to be a way to actually fix these. So I searched around, and like I said, I couldn't find much information. There was a cryptic video out there, but it just kind of talked about how to take this piece off the electric motor. That's very easy. You just slide back, electric motor comes off. So the first thing you need to do is you need to get access to the actual wires inside the silicone sheath. And to do that, we have to take apart this component here, which is the piece that snaps into the electric motor, that then snaps onto your handpiece. So first thing you got to do is I would just take the cable out. If any of you who have actually attempted this and looked at it, you've noticed that this piece just spins and spins and spins and spins and spins. It just simply goes in and out like so, but it cannot actually be unscrewed. Well, this was a mystery to me. So what I did is I looked into this quite a bit, and upon closer inspection, let me zoom in here and see if you guys can see this. You'll see that actually when you're spinning this around, see that little window that's right there? Come on, focus. That window there, did you see that little circle go by right there? There's an inside piece that's spinning with this outside piece. And there's also 3 of these windows on the VE-9 cable. Well, that's the secret to opening up this piece so we can get them to separate, so that we can get access to the rest of the wires. So I'm going to show you how I went about doing that. Basically, I knew we needed to have something that grabbed into each of those little window areas to hold that inside piece tight while you could unscrew the back part. So I took a piece of aluminum and machined out a little lip here, as you can see, which allows the cable to fit into here, stops at exactly the right point, and then there's these little holes that I put in the sides that correspond exactly with where this window would be. And then we made these screws that have a pin that protrude out like so. It goes into this threaded piece on the outside and then fits right into here. And then you simply screw this in, and you'll notice that pin comes out right there to hold that inside piece stable. So I'm going to show you how I go about taking this apart. Anyway, there's a little rubber O-ring here that you have to take off. So to do that, you just kind of squeeze, and it'll just kind of flip right off like so. Perfect. That's going to be in the way. I then take this, line up that little hole right there, like so. You guys can see it right there. That helps the little pin engage. I then take this piece and just simply put it over like so. Take that one off a little bit. This then just fits down inside like so. Just like that. Then you tighten this in and just make sure this thing fits right about, corresponds in place with these. Now I've done this twice. I found one of them to be very easy to take apart. The other one was a little more difficult. It's like there was corrosion or rust or something. So anyway, now I'm able to spin this component while this wrench holds the inside piece stable. You'll then get this. So this is that corrosion I was talking about. This was, I found this much more difficult to get off than the other piece. Then I just back these off like so. And now you're exposed with this piece here. So this is the actual threaded component that screws into this bottom piece. And this was the piece that was just spinning around and around and around. So you can see that stuff on the threads there. That was some type of corrosion that made this actually pretty challenging to get off. But with this wrench, I could do it still. Now, the next thing is you got to get this plastic component off of here, which is caging the strain relief of the silicone tubing up into this component right here. So you'll notice this thing compresses. There's a little ring that goes around here. What it's doing is the collar that slides over these fingers, that they're snapped around a ring inside here. So what we have to do is move the fingers out to let it release. Well, that metal ring here keeps those fingers engaged around that collar so it doesn't want to let go. So just use something to lift this metal ring basically. So what I did is just lift up this metal ring like so. See, I lifted it up, then kind of spring it free, and it should just kind of let go on one of these fingers. So there it goes, starting to go. You could probably make a little tool to help you with this as well. There it goes. So it's separating right now. So you can see I've gotten the ring up. Now I just got this one last finger to disengage, which, there it goes. Perfect. So this, you can now see the inside of this, what it looks like. See that little channel? This little channel that runs right in here, that's the piece that snaps around this right here. Let me zoom in again so you can see a little bit better. This is that little flange that engages this little channel. This metal ring goes over this whole piece to keep those fingers in, and this spring keeps it pushed down. All right, so you just pull this back and voila, now we have access to all the cables that are inside here. And oh, look at this one. So it actually appears to be the problem is this red cable has broken off. So you can see that it's the first time I'm taking this one apart. So what I need to do now to fix the problem here is simply splice these two back together. So I'm just going to strip them back, solder them, put a heat shrink tubing over them, and this tubing should be good to go as new. And just the reverse assembly puts this all back together. So that's about it for that. If you happen to actually pull this piece out like this, you'll find it's very difficult to put it back in place. There actually happens to be one spring-loaded component here that does the action to push out all the little balls. You can see it right in there. That's the one right there. To get this back together, simply push in on this little ball, and you'll see it pushes that block back in place to help be able to seat this thing back in there so those balls can run around on that race. So if you try to put this back in, see how it's blocking you out? Well, to get it back in place, simply push this little ball in with an object, and it should just seat right in there. It's easier to do this when I don't have the camera in front of me. There it goes. So it just seated right back up in there. Spring just goes back up in there. This retaining ring goes on the bottom of the spring, basically. So it just kind of seats in there. Like so. This simply snaps back in, then let the ring snap around it. Then screw the nut back in. Put your wrench back on. Tighten it down, and you're done. All right, that's about all I got as far as this goes. Pretty simple tool. I started out with brass for these screws, but I found it'll be a little bit too soft, and so the this piece here would bend a little bit under the heavy load of the nut that was a little bit more stuck. So I made a couple out of some 12L14, just mild steel, which have held up a little bit better, but you can see this one's actually bent a little bit as well. So I guess you could do tool steel. A little worried about getting too hard though. I didn't want to mar the pieces inside, but this worked out pretty good. If anybody's interested in the dimensions of how to create this piece or how to make your own tool, let me know, or I guess I could probably make one if you really wanted one. Anyway, all right, hope that helps you out. Good luck, and feel free to leave me any thoughts in the comments, or yeah, reach out if you need any help with this. Take care. Bye.